The business meeting, and I'm calling this meeting to order. In attendance are Commissioners Brooks, Matari, and Duncan. And if you would please join me in a moment of silence. Thank you. All right, Pledge of Allegiance, Keith Taylor.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, changes to the agenda. Hearing none, I would take a motion to approve meeting minutes.
I move that we approve the meeting minutes, items 1 through 13.
I second the motion.
Bill Brooks,
Aye.
Commissioner Matari,
Aye.
Chair Duncan.
Aye. All right, motion passes. Consent calendar, please.
What did you say?
Consent calendar.
Okay. I move that we approve the consent calendar, items 14 through 21.
I second the motion.
Bill Brooks,
Aye.
Commissioner Matari,
Aye.
Chair Duncan.
Aye, and motion passes. Item 22, payables list.
I move that we approve the payables list for June 19 through 23, 2023. The amount of $586,029.59 and jury panel payments of $1,952.29.
I second the motion.
Bill Brooks,
Aye.
Commissioner Matari,
Aye.
Chair Duncan.
Aye. All right, item 23, Resolution 2023-58, and this is a public hearing for Department of Motor Vehicle Admin Fees, Title and Registration, and our Assessor's Office Vehicle License Division.
Commissioners, Bela, Kovacs, Assessor, for the record. This item before you is a recommendation to amend and set fees as per Idaho Code, and I'm going off of memory, I believe it's 31870. House Bill 85 this past legislative session amended that statute and introduced a new provision under it renumbered the sections and introduced a new provision under subsection 4. Our clerk, our auditor's office has conducted an analysis and audit and has made recommendation to adjust the fees as presented to you today. We have advertised that for the public hearing. It was advertised and appeared twice in the newspaper, and so our recommendation is that the board review and approve that.
All right, questions?
I'm just curious, what were the edits that you didn't think were, that you didn't want to follow?
Edits, you're referring to the edits to the resolution?
Yes.
Well, some of the edits that were presented to me were renumbering. For example, the House Bill 85 renumbered the statute. Prior to the enactment of the legislation, which goes into effect July 1st, subsection 4 did relate to firearms, but the new legislation, the new language after the change, that subsection 4 does pertain to the title fee, which is what we're referring to here.
So it doesn't have to do with the fees, it's just,
Okay.
I'm asking, it doesn't have to do with the fees structure itself?
I'm sorry?
It does, the edits had nothing to do with the fees themselves. It just had to do with the property or the category of the property? Because you said firearms, and I thought this was for titling.
It is for titling. So the statute before the changes, subsection 4 refers to firearms, is my understanding, fees pertaining to firearms, which does not pertain to what we're talking about here.
Okay.
But the change in the legislation renumbered that section. I believe firearms, which used to be subsection 4, moved down to subsection 5, and I'm going off of memory. And subsection 4 is the new language that then pertain to title fees, which is what we're talking about here.
So Dave, can we approve, after the public hearing and everything, can we approve the amounts, but then re-look at the actual resolution? Or does the resolution have to be approved today?
Everything needs to be approved pursuant to the public hearing. So if you want revisions to the resolution, then I think it needs to come back before another hearing.
Okay.
I'm just, my concern, and I just don't understand it because I didn't see it in the supporting documents, is just what was recommended and what was declined, and just making sure that an extra set of eyes can at least look at that. Not to suggest that what you have suggested is not correct, but just to be able to kind of see it.
Sure. Thank you. I believe there were some edits that were, I'm not sure if this is the right word, stylistic, but it referred to the authority of the board to make this decision. I don't have a copy of the resolution in front of me, but it was referring to a statute which is the authority and the power of the commissioners, and that was inserted in there originally, in my original draft. You might refer to that as a stylistic change, I suppose, but it was my recommendation that that be retained.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know, does anyone else kind of, like, tracking here, following it, or?
I prefer to be concise, and so I don't know how much of this language is necessary to get the job done and how much of it is not necessary. So without having the suggestions, I don't know
Yeah,
where to
there
go
was no
from
track
here.
changes
Right.
included. So,
Right.
is this going to cause a delay if we, I mean, will it cause an issue if we wait 1 week and at least take a look
Well,
at
it
the?
would, you know, this is not a hill I would die on. If the commissioners would prefer to use legal counsel's resolution, then I would say use that one. It has been advertised, the hearing has been advertised. We would then incur advertising costs. I presume we would have to re-advertise all over again if we were to delay this.
But the fees don't go into effect till October 1. So there's plenty of time to do that. Randy, well, actually, Anna may know. How much did it cost to publish?
I'm not sure of the cost to publish. I do know that we do have to notify a lot of our constituents that deal with our titles,
Right.
well ahead of time that the fee is coming. So we are kind of pending on that being approved to then move forward as far as notifying our constituents.
Sure.
I mean, I just have two questions. One is, when council reviews this, is the fiduciary to the board or to the elected official? And two, does it make sense for at least just to get an understanding of how important these edits or the lack of the edits is? And if it's not that important, then I'm fine moving ahead. If there's a material component to it, then, we probably should at least take a look and just as a second set of eyes.
Sure. Well, I mean, it's a separate legal opinion given to another elected official, so we're not entitled to that unless the elected official shares that with us.
Oh, okay.
So then we just have to kind of guess if this is.
I have no problem sharing the legal opinion. In fact, our legal counsel's here. I suppose legal counsel could speak to the issue in the interest of the public good.
I guess the only thing would then be we're not only putting them on the spot, but then that pierces the veil of client privilege. So I don't know that I want to do that.
Yeah, I'm not
either.
really prepared to go into all.
Sure.
I provided the opinion with the track changes. I don't think it would be all that helpful to kind of go into it line
Sure.
by line during this meeting.
Right.
It's a business meeting. There was opportunities to do that before today. It didn't happen. So I'm happy to assist if Bela agrees. I can provide whatever assistance to board and the assessor, but I need Bela to kind of agree to that. It sounds like he has, but it just,
Yeah, and
so we
I,
can follow up,
Yeah.
you know.
and I'm happy to forward the email to you that I received back from Dave, and which I shared with Dave in regards to the edits, which does show the red lines and it does show track changes.
Yeah.
So let me think about this. So we will incur costs because of the republication. What about just,
Well, that's if we make the changes, right? If we don't make the changes, we won't incur costs. will
correct, correct. But what about continuing the public hearing till next week? That still doesn't matter because this resolution was published?
It's not typically the practice to continue a hearing like that.
Sure.
I believe the notice goes out and it has a specific date for the hearing. So I think it would need to be re-noticed. But because the hearing is on a certain date, the notice that gets published is for the hearing on that date.
Right.
I don't think it's proper notice to then continue a hearing without giving new notice that's published.
Sure. Yeah, we do that in community development all the time, but it's probably a different type of
I would advise
hearing.
against that.
If I may, Commissioners, again, the resolution, the corrections, the most material edit that I made, I would say it wasn't even an edit. It was the original draft that I put together. And my recommendation was to stay with the original draft because the most significant component there was the section of the whereas that referred to the change in the statute, which authorized the commissioners to enact a title fee, which would be the new section, the new subsection of 31-870 subsection 4.
Sure.
Yeah, I think the hard part is just the fact that, the board is the one that, obviously, they execute this. And we want to make sure that it fits within the parameters of the legal guidance. And the question is, are you doing this or is legal doing this? And if you're doing it, it doesn't mean it's wrong. It just means that, you're not the legal, part of the government. So you're making this decision, but we're the ones who are signing it. So we just want to make sure that whatever those differences were, and I'm not trying to speak for the rest of the board, but at least I like to see okay, what is it? Is it a stylistic grammar error, or not error, but difference, or is it statute references, which are significant?
So
Could
Dave,
be
we go ahead and we
significant.
go through the public hearing and we approve this and then we find that there's some error. Is that a whole new republishing and all that?
To correct, if you believe there's an error, I believe so.
Okay. So I guess what we could do is approve it and then,
Be a new resolution is my answer.
right, okay.
So-
And then do a new resolution if we had to. I mean, if we just don't approve it today, then we incur the costs no matter what. If we approve it today, we may or may not incur the costs of republishing.
I thought we would not incur the cost if we agreed to it next week.
No, we would, because it'd be,
Oh,
we
that's
have
right,
to
because of the
republish.
date. I'm sorry.
That's okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm fine with that. If you don't have a problem just sharing that stuff and,
Not at all. I have no problem with that.
okay, all right, thank you.
Yeah.
All right, so we'll go ahead then and.
Yeah.
Okay. So anybody here on the phone or in person to speak for or against the fee changes for the title and registration? Which I guess I could say that the registration has decreased from $10 to $9.50, and then the title transaction is $8, which I believe is a brand-new fee.
And I think the only clarification I'd like to make is the registration is a decrease?
Yes.
Okay,
I think I said that.
okay.
Yeah.
I didn't
Okay.
hear that. I'm sorry.
Yeah. Okay, I would take a motion to end public testimony and enter into deliberations.
I move that we end public testimony and enter into deliberations.
I second the motion.
Bill Brooks.
Aye.
Commissioner Matari.
Aye.
Chair Duncan.
Aye. All right, so I believe that the auditor has helped the assessor in the proper fees, and so I do not have an issue with the two changes. Okay.
I agree. I think the fee structure is fine. It's been reviewed properly.
All right, then I would take a motion.
I move that we approve Resolution 2023-58 for the DMV admin fees for title and registration and vehicle licensing.
I second the motion.
Bill Brooks.
Aye.
Commissioner Matari.
Aye.
Chair Duncan.
Aye. Okay, the fees have been changed. All right, item number 24. This is debt book lease accounting software subscription, 3-year license agreement renewal, August 23 to September of 26. And our auditing department, Mr. Taylor.
Thank you, Commissioners. Yes, Keith Taylor from the Auditor's Office for the record. Before you is a 3-year offer from DebtBook to renew our contract for use of this software through the 3-year contract takes us through September of 2026. The Auditor's Office started using DebtBook last summer in August of 2022 in order to implement a new reporting requirement for the county's leases. DebtBook software and specifically their implementation team was paramount in properly reporting the county's 160 leases in our annual financial statements. This year, DebtBook will once again be a critical resource for implementing another new reporting standard referred to as GASB 96, and this reporting requirement is over subscription-based software agreements and how they're reported as part of our financial statements. The county has around 30 subscription-based software contracts. The DebtBook's implementation team will once again do both the contract review of those software contracts and then also set it up within the DebtBook software. So this saves the auditor's office probably a good months of work of having to review those contracts ourselves. So the contract terms within DebtBook, our current year contract with DebtBook will be $22,800 through September of 2023, the end of the fiscal year. And then next year's cost for 2024 would be $25,000. Year 2 of the contract for FY 2025 would be $26,500. That's about a 6% increase. And then year 3 would be $30,000 for fiscal year 2026. So we appreciate your consideration of this renewal.
All right, 2 questions, just clarification from now, or August 10th, it looks like, to September 30th, just to get us back on track with the fiscal year, is $2,700.
Correct.
Okay.
Correct. So, yeah, yes, 22. When I say $22,800, that our contract cost this year was $20,000 plus that additional almost $2,800 to
Get us on track.
Get us on track through the end of this year, so we're not having to report this, over have the contract year running from August to August.
Sure.
It's kind of awkward because it's running over 2 fiscal years.
How do you like it?
It does exactly what we need. I mean, I'm not crazy about this having to account for it because it's just an additional requirement that
Right.
it doesn't really provide a lot of value, but
Okay.
we need the software to do what we need to do for reporting.
Okay. Any other questions?
No questions.
motion.
Thank you.
I move that we approve the DebtBook leased accounting software subscription, a 3-year license agreement, a renewal August 2023 to September 2026.
I second the motion.
Bill Brooks.
Aye.
Commissioner Matari.
Aye.
Chair Duncan.
Aye, motion passes. Item 25, renewal of commercial credit card service program, also known as Bank of America P-Card program, along with Bank of America. And again, Keith Taylor for our auditor's office.
Yeah, Okay, so this one doesn't cost the county anything. So Keith Taylor again from the Auditor's Office for the record. For you is a renewal offer from Bank of America, which is our purchase card program provider. The Auditor Office brings this contract forward so we can once again start earning cash rebates on the county's purchase card spending. The county was receiving rebates up until February of this year, when our agreement ended through the State of Idaho Cooperative Plan. That ended because they switched to our old P-card provider through US Bank. So we decided, or I guess it just didn't make sense for us to, switch providers. So we left. We've been with Bank of America since 2017 and would like to remain with them. We just decided that the time, cost, and risk of transferring P-card programs wasn't worth whatever the difference in cash rewards would be. So to give you an idea of proposed rebates according to this new agreement, the county spends on average of about $100,000 a month through purchase cards, which equates to about $1.2 million annually. So at this spending level, we project that our rebate would be around $18,000 for fiscal year 24, which we do have that budgeted as part of fiscal 24's budget. So beyond the rebate, the county saved hundreds of hours of processing time when we switched to Bank of America, which is why we'd like to stay with them now. So thanks for considering renewing the county's purchase card program with Bank of America, and I'm happy to answer any questions.
Okay, questions?
No question.
Motion.
I move that we renew the Bank of America Commercial Credit Card Service Program.
I second the motion.
Bill Brooks.
Aye.
Commissioner Matari.
Aye.
Chair Duncan.
Aye. All right, motion passes. Thank you, Keith. Item 26, grant application. This is FY24, WSFM Northern Timber and Idaho Department of Lands in the amount of $240,000 in-kind match with our local fire district, and it's $24,000 Office of Emergency Management. Tiffany, Ms. Westbrook, are you on the phone?
Yes, Tiffany Westbrook, OEM Director for the record. Before you is an application for the FY24 Western States Fire Management Grant. The proposed project area will be taking place in the greater Athol area. The intent of this program is to mitigate wildland fire risk within the WUI through meaningful hazard and fuel reduction. If this project were to be selected for funding, there is a $24,000 in-kind match requirement that would be met in partnership with the local fire jurisdiction and property owners, similar to what we have done in previous projects throughout the county.
Okay, questions, motion?
I move that we approve grant application FY24 WSFM with Northern Timber / Idaho Department of Lands for $240,000 with an in-kind match from local fire district, Kootenai County at $24,000 in the Office of Emergency Management.
I second the motion.
Bill Brooks.
Aye.
Commissioner Matari.
Aye.
Chair Duncan.
Aye. All right, motion passes. Thank you, Tiffany. Item 27, amendment to agreement. And this is Kootenai County's Juvenile Detention Center HVAC replacement with Apollo Mechanical Contractors. And our RMO is Ms. Smith or Ms. Combrick on there?
Caitlin Smith for the record. As you said, this is an amendment to the agreement between Kootenai County and Apollo Mechanical Contractors for the replacement of HVAC equipment at the Juvenile Detention Center. This amendment is administrative. It does not change the contract amount or the work to be performed. It states that Kootenai County shall withhold a 5% retainage from each invoice for the project, and then on substantial completion of the project and the county's final approval of the work, the contractor may submit an invoice for the retainage, which the county shall release within 30 days.
Okay, questions, motion?
No questions. I move that we approve the amendment to the agreement with the Kootenai County JDC HVAC replacement Apollo Mechanical Contractors.
I second the motion.
Bill Brooks.
Aye.
Commissioner Matari.
Aye.
Chair Duncan.
Aye. All right, motion passes. Thank you. Item 28, maintenance agreement, environmental systems, Riverstone Transit Center with Apollo Mechanical. And our Chad Engel, are you on the phone?
I am. Thank you, Commissioners. Chad Engel with RMO for the record. This is an agreement with Apollo Mechanical to provide preventative maintenance, testing, and inspection services on the Riverstone Transit Center HVAC system. The agreement term is for 1 year at the rate of $493 per quarter. Legal has reviewed and approved this agreement.
Okay, how old is the system?
We are going on 3 years that we've been here. So it was 2019, so it's almost 4 years now. So.
Okay, and then what, have you guys had any problems in the past, or who was your service provider before?
We did not have a service provider. We've been doing just filter changes, and then we'd hire once in a while for somebody to come in and do some mechanical work. But yes, we have had a few issues here and there on our HVAC system. So we want to make sure that we continue to keep everything running as it should.
Okay, I think there's one more question in there, but I can't think of it off the top of my head. So, questions, motion?
Does the agreement include repair if something breaks down during that time?
It does not. This is just for the preventive maintenance and then the inspection and testing.
Okay.
I move that we approve maintenance agreement for the environmental systems at Riverstone Transit Center with Apollo Mechanical and Research Management Office.
I second the motion.
Bill Brooks.
Aye.
Commissioner Matari.
Aye.
Chair Duncan.
Aye. Chad, is this coming out of FTA funds?
That is correct. It'll be all FTA.
Okay, thank you very much. Item 29, 2023-24, agreement amendment for the Area Agency on Aging and our Resource Management Office. Mr. Engel again?
Yes, thank you. Chad Engel with RMO for the record again. This is an amendment to the agreement with the Area Agency on Aging, providing match for the FTA 5310 Ring-A-Ride program. Due to funding restraints, the Area Agency on Aging is reducing their reimbursement amount. The term of this amendment is 1 year, and again, legal has reviewed and approved this.
Okay, questions, motion?
I move that we approve the Ring-A-Ride amendment for 2023-2024 agreement for the Area Agency on Aging.
I second the motion.
Bill Brooks.
Aye.
Commissioner Matari.
Aye.
Chair Duncan.
Aye. All right, motion passes. Item 30, board approval request. This is for 19 HFR 1 and 21 HFR 1 bid acceptance for the hazard wildland fuels treatment. And is this Ms. Bieze or Ms. Westbrook?
It'll be Jody Bieze for the record.
Okay, go ahead, Jody.
Kootenai County conducted an informal solicitation for bids for the provision of hazard wildland fuel treatment within 4 project areas. I will present the 4 project areas separately, seeking board approval for each project area. Project 1 is for Tatum's Pond for 13 acres. We received 3 bids. RMO recommends the board accept and award the lowest responsive bidder, Park It Out, in the amount of $50,700.
Okay, I think we can have one motion for all 4 items.
All 4? Okay, thank you. All right, project area 2, East Hayden Lake, 3 acres. RMO received 3 bids. We recommend the board accept and award the lowest responsive bidder, the American Firefighter Company, in the amount of $4,500. Project area number 3, English Point, 21.7 acres. RMO received 4 bids. We recommend the board accept and award the lowest responsive bidder, Majestic View Forestry, in the amount of $28,210. And project area 4, Henry Point, 40 acres. RMO received 4 bids. We recommend the board accept and award the lowest responsive bidder, Majestic View Forestry, in the amount of $52,000.
Okay, questions, motion?
I have no questions.
I move that we approve the request 19 HFR 1/21 HFR 1 bid acceptance hazard wildlife fuels treatment for RMO.
Do we need to list the different awards?
It sounds like there was already a record read of that.
Okay,
Yes, it's in our packet.
so I second the motion.
Bill Brooks,
Aye.
Commissioner Matari,
Aye.
Chair Duncan.
Aye, motion passes. Thank you. Item 31, Grant Amendment 3-16-0010-057-2023. Grant Amendment, increase award amount for SRE Building, Federal Aviation Administration, the amount of $27,200, no match required. And Ms. Sigwart, are you going to bring us through this?
Yes, Corey Sigford with Ardara for the record. This grant amendment, or this grant, the original grant was awarded in FY22, and it was for the SRE building schedules B, C, D, and E of the SRE building. With the original award amount, the FAA amount of $295 was the max bill dollars amount allocated for FY22. The actual amount funded, because it was a 90% award, was $327,778. The total cost of those three bid schedules as bid were $358,000, which was less $29,222. And so we're asking for a grant amendment, so 90% of the $29,222 is $26,300 to get it up to the amount to cover those four bid schedule items that were bid and awarded in, I think it was September of FY22. So the amendment brings it up to the actual amount of the bid and funds the remainder of those three schedules, or four schedules.
So the number on the, paperwork is 27,200. You quoted 26,300.
Oh, did I misadd? Oh dear.
I mean, I really like the number 27,200 better.
27,300?
27,200.
That's
Okay.
also in the letter.
Yeah.
Did I misadd? I may have misadded that. And I don't have a good
The
calculator.
documentation says that. When I sign it today, I'll just double check that figure.
The numbers? Okay.
Yeah. All right, questions? Oh, go ahead.
Can I just ask a question? Will the state be contributing 5% for that amendment amount, or do you know?
We believe yes.
Oh, okay.
So the state and local share would be 1,461, but that actually might be off by the amount that I had fat fingered that.
So we should be expecting an amendment from the state then as well?
Yes.
Okay, that's all I wanted. Okay, thank you.
We'll keep it under $500,000.
All right, any other questions, motion?
I move that we approve the grant amendment number 3-16-001-057-2023 to increase the awarded amount for the SRE building with the FAA to $27,200 with no additional match requirement.
I second the motion.
Bill Brooks.
Aye.
Commissioner Matari.
Aye.
Chair Duncan.
Aye, motion passes. All right, item 32, construction contract for AIP 058 runway 624 rehab and construct taxiway B3 with Poe Asphalt Paving, Inc. And our interim director, Phil Cummings. Do you want Corey to handle that?
No.
Oh, okay.
So we got we met with Paul and received the contract for this year's project. A few details to work out, but I think we're all satisfied with what we have remaining.
So the contract amount is $4,744,444, and it is funded under a current grant that has been approved by the commissioners, AIP 058. It was approved, I think, last week or the week before. As 90% grant.
Okay. And so the grant was approved, but we wait to give them the construction go-ahead until we receive it. Okay, perfect. Any questions?
No questions.
Motion.
I move that we approve construction contract for AIP 058 runway 6/24 for rehab and construction taxiway B3 with Poe Asphalt Paving, Inc.
I second the motion.
Bill Brooks.
Aye.
Commissioner Matari.
Aye.
Chair Duncan.
Aye, motion carries. Thank you so much. All right, item 33. This is approval of IIIA Joint Powers Agreement. Let's see here. It's under the Idaho Independent Intergovernmental Authority, and our Human Resource Director, Sylvia Proud.
Sylvia Proud for the record. Back in on May 18th, the KCSO presented coming forward with a mental health program, specifically like an EAP for first responders. It's for approximately 200 of the sworn officers and the dispatch team to receive specific services as needed. And the Joint Powers Agreement basically is attesting, if the board agrees, that we would be participating in the program, specifically the mental health program for the first responders. Currently, they have about 5,300 members as part of the IIIA.
So essentially, this is kind of like joining a credit union or joining an organization, and then we'll do the contract next, or participation agreement.
Yes.
Okay. Questions?
No questions.
Motion?
I move that we approve the 3A Joint Powers Agreement. IIIA.
It's weird.
Joint Powers Agreement with the Idaho Independent Intergovernmental Authority.
I second the motion.
Bill Brooks.
Aye.
Commissioner Matari.
Aye.
Chair Duncan.
Aye, motion carries. And item 34, this is approval of IIIA Participation Agreement, Idaho Independent, oh, nope, that's reading that. No, I guess it is. It's the participation agreement, though, under the Idaho Independent Intergovernmental Authority. So, Human Resources.
Sylvia Proud for the record. In connection with the Joint Powers Authority agreement, we also need to sign off on a participation agreement that provides the terms of the agreement. So basically, we have to commit to a minimum of 1 year of service plus the rest of the few months of this year. The cost for the program is $15 per employee per month. For fiscal year 23, it's about $9,000 for the 200 sworn officers, and fiscal year 24, which I've put into my into the health fund budget, of $36,000. And our budget will cover the additional expense. We will be able to offset Uprise by about $1,500 of that cost, because there's a significant difference in Uprise EAP versus this EAP. But they provide a comprehensive program that's specific for law enforcement, and it's recommended that we move forward with it.
Okay, questions, motion?
I just wonder if it doesn't make sense to at least make a note in the calendar for next year, just to kind of see how it's done.
Yes.
You know, just to see if it's really helping folks out the way they would like to have their help. So.
I will share that with the sheriff's office, with Marcia and Brett. And then they are going to start launching the program mid-July with on-site meetings for the staff to give them a comprehensive overview of how it works. So we can give you that schedule if you'd like.
Okay.
All right.
I move that we approve item 3IA participation agreement in the Idaho Independent Intergovernmental Authority and HR.
I second the motion.
Bill Brooks.
Aye.
Commissioner Matari.
Aye.
Chair Duncan.
Aye. All right, motion carries. Item 35, board approval request. This is Aquifer Protection District Independent Contractor Agreement with Alta Science and Engineering, Inc. And it's BOCC, and I don't see any staff, so I can go ahead and take a crack at this. Essentially, this has to do with the scope of work for the district to look at the different recharge areas. And they've been working on this project for several years. And I want to say that this is an additional, it's either us or DEQ works with Alta already. So if you need more information, I can get that to you, but essentially it's what the agreement is in the packet.
No, I think it's a good idea.
Okay. Questions, Bill? Okay, motion?
I move that we approve the, I guess, agreement for the Aquifer Protection District independent contractor agreement with Alta Science and Engineering, Inc.
I second the motion.
Bill Brooks.
Aye.
Commissioner Matari.
Aye.
Chair Duncan.
Aye. All right, motion carries. Item 36, Resolution 2023-59, which is the sale of surplus vehicles with our prosecuting attorney's office. Mr. Mortensen, are you handling this?
Can. I'll be perfectly honest. Wasn't intending on doing this when I first showed up to the meeting, so if the board could restate the item.
Essentially, it is a resolution for the sale of surplus vehicles. It's a Lincoln Continental, Chevy Tahoe, Dodge Ram, Ford Explorer, and a BMW.
Certainly. I can certainly answer questions the board may have, but based on what has been submitted, I would just ask the court to approve it.
Okay. And then I would just make note that that they're in excess of $250, so they'll go to auction. So that's about it. Any other questions, comments?
No.
Motion?
I move that we approve Resolution 2023-59 for the sale of surplus vehicles with the prosecuting attorney's office.
I second the motion.
Bill Brooks.
Aye.
Commissioner Matari.
Aye.
Chair Duncan.
Aye. All right. Motion carries. Thanks, Dan.
Thank you.
Okay, to our status pending list, we had a meeting on the facilities expansion yesterday with our CMGC and architects, and things I think went well. They brought us some good numbers, and we approved them to proceed in 3 stages, which should actually further reduce costs. So any questions about that? Okay,
Nope.
Hearing none. Impact fees, Bill.
Haven't heard anything from anybody, so.
Okay. Did you verify with staff that the letters went out?
Sure.
Okay. And prosecutor has no expansion, further details yet for your office? Temporary expansion. Boy, Stan, you're not going to show up to these anymore, are you?
Your Honor, I have no update. Your Honor.
It's okay. Leslie's
I'm so
fine.
used to being in court. No updates. Currently, the office is still working on pushing out the front lobby area. I think that may solve it'll put a Band-Aid on the problems. We don't have an estimate yet from Buildings and Grounds, but we're hopeful that that'll prevent us from having to play musical office space with another department.
And I think the last I heard, they were working on partitions, so that's part of they were trying to get that cost down. by
Yeah, the cost
finding-
of the partitions is where the holdup is.
Okay.
Yeah, thank you.
Perfect, thank you. And jail pods, Bill, where are we at with that?
Depends on the budget. We're kind of waiting on a budget.
Okay. I think that I think they're working on the RFQ project. So maybe Captain Heil now. Maybe Captain Heil will let you know where they're at with that.
Okay.
So with that, I will call for public comment. Anybody on the phone? I don't see anybody in person. Anybody online? No. All right, 2:44, meeting adjourned. Thank you all.